Hi, Vincent here again. Thanks for joining us with people behind tech here in Portugal. Today we have a very exciting interview with Emiliano, the founder of RAIZ. They are building an intersection of food security, sustainability, and design. So without further ado, let's talk to Emiliano. Thanks for joining us today.
Vince, great to see you, man.
Good to see you again. So for those who don't know what you're doing or who you are, please give them a bit of a picture of what you're doing with RAIZ.
Great. Great to meet everyone. So RAIZ is a vertical farming company that's aiming to build climate resilient food ecosystems. So basically transforming the way we connect with food to take us to a more nourishing, healthy, cleaner food system. I'm Emiliano, co-founder, CEO of RAIZ, and we've been going at it for a couple of years now. Happy to share more of the journey.
Okay, so decentralized food systems. Tell us a bit more about why this, why now, why here in Lisbon?
Absolutely. So decentralized food systems are one of the solutions to make things better. So if we think about the current system right now, we'll see long supply chains, mostly traditional big agriculture, and a lot of waste, a lot of emissions, and to be honest, not really healthy food for people worldwide. So if we're able to do healthy, conscious ecosystems that are decentralized and grow locally, then we're able to grow more efficiently, so with less resources, less pesticides, less waste, and also connect people better to what they're eating, right? So that's the essence of decentralization. Furthermore, we want to do it in a way that empowers other people, right? So at the end of the day, we plan to be a network of multiple farms that nourish certain communities in different parts of the world. So that can only be done through decentralization. So that's the essence of the decentralized vision that we're building. Why Portugal? I mean, why not, right? It's the best place to be, I believe, one of the best. So Portugal has been super welcoming in terms of both starting the company, but also welcoming us with open arms in terms of what we're building. And we see a very encouraging community here, both in the impact scene, food tech, but also in the startup scene in general. So yes, really excited to be working and building here.
So in terms of the vertically integrated farming that's located inside cities, how do you see RAIZ being differentiated from other types of vertical farmings that we see around the world? And how do you envision your specific type of solution having an impact in terms of food security and sustainability in cities like Lisbon, or perhaps also other hubs like London and so forth?
Yeah, so key differentiator is the energy angle. So we've been always focused around energy efficiency. So if you're familiar or if you've seen other vertical farms, they mostly run fully enclosed and they waste a lot of energy, which both makes it unsustainable, but also difficult financially. So what we've seen and designed is a hybrid energy model, which means basically combining natural light with LEDs and then software to optimize the energy consumption. That allows us to run much more efficiently and also makes it more beautiful to see to the eye because it's sort of a glass house that lets light in, but you also can see how the farm is looking inside. So that's the second part that we're also really focused on, which is basically the aesthetic and the design angle. So we want our farms and our products to be beautiful. It's not only about growing food, but also enhancing the urban aesthetic, both for real estate, hospitality, and eventually we'll see also more farms being adopted indoors, like co-working spaces such as these, houses, restaurants.
Amazing. So that's very, very cool. So there's an intersection between food security, energy sustainability, and simply aesthetics and design and beautifying or the concept of a garden city inside of Lisbon.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are effectively within the food, water, and energy nexus, right? So those are the key things for civilization, at least at a primal level, right? So we are well inside that nexus, right? So that's what urban farming can allow. And then the aesthetic element, that's more of a, I would say a philosophy that at the company and the team we try to promote, and being cross across all the different products and services that we offer. It's also how do we bring that design, beauty and simplicity to what we're growing.
Very, very amazing. I'd like to take a step back from RAIZ for just a moment and perhaps peel back the layers for our audience to get to know Emiliano, the founder behind RAIZ. What was your story? How did you end up leading and co-founding RAIZ?
Sure. So, yeah, I was walking around now. Let's say I was in a rooftop in the Bronx, actually with an innovation program back in 2017. And that's where I got to know hydroponics. And it wasn't vertical farming, but it was CEA, which is Controlled Environment Agriculture. Being the fact that it was in the Bronx and it was being grown for a community around there, that really caught my eye in terms of making, yes, a technological business, but also an impact for society and communities there. So that was when, let's say, the seeds were sown and planted. So moving a bit forward, working with an energy startup back in LATAM. We were also focused in decentralized energy resources and how do we integrate that. And with industry analysis, we saw that vertical farms and CEA, again, controlled environment ag, was going to be a huge energy consumer. And that's like how the bulb lit up in terms of, okay, we need to grow food, but in a much more energy efficient way. So with a business and energy background, that's sort of how I got a bit more into vertical farming with that specific angle, right? Yeah, I've been traveling for a while. Lived in Australia, and that's when COVID hit, and also that I already had a bit of the idea of decentralized food networks and or energy networks. But when COVID hit, and we saw like there was actually a lack of greens and food shortages across the world. In Australia, that really hit us. And that's when I saw, okay, this will become a pressing need, right? Hopefully it won't be so drastic in the future, but it might as well be. And also with climate change, which is no joke, right? It's a pressing reality. We know we need to make things more climate resilient. So
sort of vulnerabilities in the system.
There's vulnerability in the system, and also a vulnerability in the way that vertical farming was being done. In terms of this energy efficient angle. So yeah, that started, then we met like different part of the team. We got together, and here Portugal also was very welcoming. I think the audience will resonate that with moving and coming abroad from different countries, but startup is very welcoming. For example, for me it was the startup visa that allowed me to come in and to create the company and to actually move here, right?
Yep.
So that's part of the journey.
It's always very inspiring for us to meet global founders like yourself. Ideation coming from the Bronx, experiences from LATAM, Australia, and so forth. Tell us a bit about your experiences building a company here in Portugal through perhaps Build Up Labs and the other support systems that are available to you.
Yeah, Portugal is great because it has great talent, both from Portuguese people, but also expats that come here and want to have both an amazing lifestyle, but also a thriving ecosystem, a growing one. I first came here in 2017 to study. We launched here in 2021, late 2021. But I fell in love with the country and the culture and the food and everything that everyone loves, right? But there has been a serious growth from 2017, for example, even 2021 to now. It's been like a rapid growth in the ecosystem. And Build Up Labs, for example, really, to be honest, without Build Up Labs, I believe we wouldn't even be here because as an incubator, they provide also the legal framework and the legal capacity for you to, in my case, get a startup visa.
Right.
So they really open doors for that. And then, of course, throughout our journey has been connecting us with clients, with investors, with just having the strategic and moral support from Rui and the team, for example, has also been super important for us. So that's Build Up Labs. And then the wider ecosystem has also been welcoming. There's different programs. Again, it's an early stage ecosystem. It's not Silicon Valley or I don't know, New York, but you've seen more things coming, and there's also more programs coming in. We've been through a couple of them, and they always support. So I would say definitely it's a good ecosystem to be in and to grow together with.
Amazing. So swinging back to RAIZ, tell us a bit more about where the company is in terms of its maturity, traction. Have you deployed or have you started selling to, I assume, corporates, or are you located inside a retail space, or is it in public spaces?
Yes, yeah, great question. We have deployed, we have a flagship farm that currently is at the Faculty of Sciences of Lisbon. There we're very happy because we're going to be doing both R&D and of course hosting events and commercializing the crops. But I think the fact that we've been supported and awarded with credibility from such an important university in Portugal, that really speaks to the name of what we're doing. We've been before in public space or public-private spaces like Mirari in Alcántara, which I really recommend people going. It's super cool, and Arroz Studios nearby. We've been, of course, as any startup, adapting and pivoting a bit, but we started selling to hospitality clients. So we have a set of good customers on the hospitality side, basically supplying with fresh harvested crops all the way from microgreens, leafy greens, and some exotic herbs. And right now we're focusing on real estate and hospitality. So just to give an example, we're closing in a couple of deals on the real estate side. One of them is in the UK and is going to be
launching globally from the start.
Yeah.
Amazing.
It's London Cancer Center. So we're excited about that. They are a real estate developer. They're building this interesting space, putting both food courts, a paddle court, a vertical farm, just bringing life to the space, which is basically a hospital, but just bringing that. So that also speaks to our passion around impact, right, and community. So we're also about like not only growing, and I think I didn't mention that, it's worth noting that we're not only about the plants, but also about the people, right? So we want to host people, we host experiences, we host workshops. So it's also how do we inspire and teach people about new ways of food production. So just to answer the question, we're transitioning, or we're growing from one flagship farm to selling farms like at a commercial level with mid-scale farms, I would say. It's like double container sized, and that's, let's say, our flagship product. And then we're launching a new product which we're super interested about, and you'll get to see more in a bit.
Okay, something's cooking.
Yeah, something's cooking, something's growing there. And that's going to be more like spaces such as this, like co-working spaces, offices. You mentioned corporates as well.
Right.
Eventually B2C, but more starting on the B2C end, B2B end.
Okay, so you're combining the vertical farming, but also specific tangible experiences to the public. For example, you mentioned workshop. I believe that's also mentioned on the website. Mm-hmm. Can you share some stories or some experiences that you've had with regards to raising awareness to the public? How has that gone so far?
Sure. One that comes to mind, or a few that come to mind, for example, we have had schools visit, universities, and even I think the youngest we had was a kindergarten visit the farm, and they were just learning how to sow the seeds. And I think that's a great age for them to start to envision how plants or produce doesn't grow in the supermarket. No, it doesn't come in plastic bags, but like goes from the seed and all the way through the process, and they can even harvest their own food, which is really interesting. We've had corporates also come in. There was one super interesting called the Board of Innovation. They did basically a panel with us around climate tech and different technologies that they were using and how could that integrate to their corporate partners. And then we usually have just also people coming in and visit, just like hosting visits at the farm, all the way from Lisbon residents to tourists coming in that want to learn a bit more. And we finish it off, for example, with some appetizers or with some pink lemonade that comes from red basil that we grow. We just try to keep it funky as well on that side.
I'll have to book a visit soon.
Yeah, please do.
So there's hydroponics. There's also, I assume, some machine learning algorithms there. You mentioned optimizing for energy sustainability, and you mentioned now architecture and design. Mm-hmm. Is your team completely Portuguese, or is there a global talent pool here that's available for you to basically unlock the skills that you need to tackle such an interesting but challenging problem?
Yeah, it's a mix, definitely a mix of talent and people. There's Portuguese, there's German, there's Spanish, Mexican, there's, yeah, missing, of course, Latvia. So there's a mix of interesting people and players, and increasingly so. I think the fact that we're, as you mentioned, facing a huge challenge that also inspires people to join, right? So it's something hard, it's something of a grand vision, so that also brings amazing people together to work towards the challenge together. Yeah, I think the fact that we're in Portugal, as mentioned, really unlocks the doors to having amazing people join, because they join both because of the vision, but also because of the ecosystem.
So the local talent, the structural supports like built up labs, very exciting times. So looking forwards, I see you've brought a little bit of a product here for us. Tell us a bit more about what's happening with RAIZ and what this is.
Yeah, this is, it's called the Hortus, and it's a modular hydroponic system. It's bio-inspired, and we're doing it with biodegradable materials that allow us to basically bring food closer to the people and even empower them to grow their own food. Again, this is initially, for example, being launched here as a beta test. There's a waiting list if people want to join. Would be happy to have them, especially in this community. But basically here, this is the MVP, right? It's a prototype that and the beta tester, but the idea here is that it's modular, so it's 1, 2, 3 modules, and then you'll be able to stack them up higher or wider, so you can
wall,
have up to a full farm wall, let's say, which again brings in more life to spaces, but also it's not only decorative plants, but it's actually something that people can eat and build community around. And you can take your plants home, or you can do some amazing pesto at the kitchen of a co-working space or an office, etc. So yeah, it's something super excited about. We've seen a lot of interest and demand, and yeah, it's a happy day here to install it.
So you mentioned this is an MVP. What's the immediate, I guess, deployment or launch plan for your product?
So immediately we're deploying these beta testers. This is the second. We're going to launch the third one. After that, we're going to start some pre-sales or selling the betas. So a minimum quantity, around 30 of them, around Lisbon. And we're planning to launch the market Q4 this year, once we have more fine-tuned, of course, all the feedback from the clients, but also the manufacturing process, all the nits and bits about the software element, and yeah, just having a product ready to go global.
So amazing. So very exciting times. How can investors, partners, or general supporters best get involved with your company? Where should they follow you and RAIZ?
100%. So I mean, there's different ways. Of course, it depends on the investor profile, for example, or the partner profile. But yeah, I would say at the moment and for the next couple of months, we are raising capital. So it would be great to have someone that's mission aligned that can bring value to the table on board. After that, we're going to be deploying, right? So we're going to focus on deploying both our commercial farms and the Hortus. So if there's partners around, yeah, anything. Distribution, technology, partnership within real estate or hospitality, would be happy to connect. And as we grow more and more for future rounds or for future types of capital allocation, we also enjoy good conversations like the one we had previously. So yes, I mean, you can follow us in any social media, LinkedIn, Instagram. Our website is also there, and I think the best way to interact with us is to join for a visit, as you will come as well.
The flagship farm in University of Lisbon, right?
Exactly, Faculty of Science in Lisbon, here in Campo Grande. So that'll be great. We do have a relaunch event there at the Faculty of Sciences on April 10th. So if anyone sees it before then, they'd be more than welcome to join.
And to see this video after that, we'll post a follow-up video of the event.
Yes.
Emiliano, thank you for your time.
Thanks, great.
Always great to hear about RAIZ.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us for the interview with Emiliano. I hope you enjoyed learning about RAIZ as much as I did. If for those who are interested, please book a tour, an experience with RAIZ through the website, visit their farms here in the University of Lisbon, and as always, follow them and us in social media and websites and anywhere you can find us online. Thank you.